Hey everyone, have you ever been in a situation where everyone else just walks on by? Where you see someone in need and you have that split-second choice. Do I get involved or do I mind my own business? We've all been there. But what if that one moment of compassion, that single decision to help, could change your entire life? This is a story about a simple act of kindness, a secret test of character, and a promotion that nobody saw coming. It's a powerful reminder that your true character is revealed not when everyone is watching, but when you think no one is. If you believe that good deeds have a way of coming back to you, you are going to love this one. So get ready for some serious feels. And hey, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't believe how this story unfolds. Let us know in the comments about a time a small act of kindness came back to you. Now, let's get into the story. The skyscraper that housed Apex Global was a monument of glass and steel, reflecting the cold, bright morning sun. At 8:45 a.m., it was the epicenter of a daily migration, a river of ambitious, sharply dressed professionals flowing from the subway, their eyes glued to phones, their minds already racing through the day's meetings and deadlines. Lucy was part of that river, her comfortable heels clicking a steady rhythm on the pavement. She was a junior marketing associate, 2 years into her first real job, and she lived in a constant, low-grade state of trying to prove she belonged. As she approached the building's grand, revolving doors, she saw a small, gathered crowd. People were slowing, pointing, then, with practiced efficiency, veering around the obstruction and continuing inside. Curiosity piqued, Lucy moved closer. On the ground, leaning against the cold marble of the building's exterior, was an elderly woman. She looked disoriented, her face pale, a string of simple pearls askew on her lavender cardigan. A reusable grocery bag had tipped over, spilling a loaf of bread and a few oranges onto the pavement. She just stumbled and went down. A man in a suit muttered to his colleague, not stopping. Security's probably already called. But Lucy didn't see security. She saw a human being. While others saw an inconvenience, a delay in their important schedules, Lucy saw her own grandmother. Without a second thought, she broke from the river of people and knelt down. "Ma'am, are you okay? Can you hear me?" The woman's eyes fluttered open. They were a pale, watery blue, filled with confusion and embarrassment. I just felt so dizzy all of a sudden," she whispered, her voice thin. "It's okay, don't try to move," Lucy said, her voice soft but firm. She shrugged off her light blazer and folded it, gently placing it under the woman's head. She picked up the fallen oranges and the bread, placing them carefully back in the bag. She pulled a bottle of water from her own tote. "Here, take small sips." A few people glanced over, their expressions a mix of pity and impatience. Lucy ignored them, her focus entirely on the woman. She learned her name was Eleanor. She'd been out for a morning walk, and the heat and the crowd had overwhelmed her. "My son, he works in this building," Eleanor said weakly. "I was going to surprise him for coffee." "We'll get you to him, don't worry," Lucy reassured her. Just then, a building security guard finally arrived, radio crackling. "We've got it from here, miss," the guard said, not unkindly. Lucy helped the guard get Eleanor to her feet, making sure she was steady. She handed the grocery bag to the guard. "Her name is Eleanor. She was looking for her son." Eleanor squeezed Lucy's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "Thank you, dear. You're a kind soul. What's your name?" "It's Lucy. Don't you worry about it. Just feel better." With a final, grateful look, Eleanor was led away by the guard, presumably to the building's medical office or her son's office. Lucy stood for a moment, her blazer now dusty, her heart still pounding from the adrenaline. She looked at her watch. 9:07. She was officially late. She rushed into the building, swiped her access card, and hurried to the elevator bank, earning a few sideways glances from colleagues who had seen her outside. She smoothed down her hair and tried to look composed. When she slipped into her cubicle, her direct supervisor Brenda was waiting for her, arms crossed. Brenda was a woman who valued punctuality above all else, her own ambition, a sharp, cutting thing. "You're late, Lucy. The morning status meeting started 7 minutes ago." "I'm so sorry, Brenda. There was an emergency outside. An elderly woman fell. I had to stop and help." Brenda held up a hand, silencing her. "I don't need the details. Helping isn't in your job description. Results are. Don't let it happen again." She turned on her heel and walked away. Lucy sank into her chair, the warmth from helping Eleanor quickly replaced by a chill of professional anxiety. In the world of Apex Global, it seemed, kindness was a liability. The next 2 days passed with an unnerving normalcy. Lucy buried herself in work, trying to make up for her late start by staying later, hoping to avoid any more scrutiny from Brenda. The incident with the elderly woman felt like a distant, surreal dream. She'd told her cubicle neighbor Mark about it, and he'd just shrugged. Rough man. But Brenda's a shark. You're lucky you didn't get written up. Lucy tried to put it out of her mind. She was just a small cog in a massive, impersonal machine. The company's CEO, Daniel Blackwood, was a mythical figure whose photo was in the lobby and whose memos were forwarded company-wide. He existed in a stratosphere so far above her own that he might as well have been on another planet. On Wednesday morning, an email popped into Lucy's inbox that made her stomach drop. It was from the executive office. The subject line was, "Meeting request." Her first, panicked thought was that she was being fired. Had Brenda escalated her lateness? Had she messed up a report? The email was brief and formal. Lucy Chen, you are requested to meet with Mr. Daniel Blackwood in his office on the 50th floor today at 3 p.m. Please be prompt. A cold dread washed over her. The 50th floor was the C-suite floor, a place of whispered legends and thick, sound-absorbing carpets. Junior associates like her didn't get summoned there. This couldn't be good. The news spread through her department like wildfire. Whispers followed her to the coffee machine. Lucy's going to the 50th floor. Blackwood himself? She's so done for. Brenda looked at her with a mixture of curiosity and smug satisfaction, as if her prediction of Lucy's failure was coming true. At 2:55 p.m., with her heart hammering against her ribs, Lucy stepped out of the elevator onto the 50th floor. It was another world. The air was still and cool. The lighting was softer. The artwork on the walls was actual, expensive art. And the floor was a deep, plush navy carpet that swallowed the sound of her footsteps. A polished, serene executive assistant greeted her. "Miss Chen, right this way. Mr. Blackwood is expecting you." She was led down a hallway to a set of double mahogany doors. The assistant opened one and gestured for her to enter. Lucy walked into an office that had a breathtaking, panoramic view of the entire city. And standing before the window, with his back to her, was Daniel Blackwood. He was taller than she'd imagined, with broad shoulders and silver-streaked dark hair. He turned around, and sitting in a plush armchair in the corner, smiling warmly, was Eleanor. The woman from the pavement. She looked vibrant and healthy, her pearls perfectly straight. Lucy's brain short-circuited. She looked from Eleanor to the CEO, her mouth slightly agape. Daniel Blackwood smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached his eyes. "Lucy Chen," he said, his voice a calm, resonant baritone. "I believe you've already met my mother." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The CEO's mother, the woman she had helped on the pavement, the one Brenda had dismissed as a distraction, was the mother of the most powerful man in the building. Lucy felt her knees go weak. It's nice to officially meet you, Mr. Blackwood," she stammered. She then turned to Eleanor. "And you, Mrs. Blackwood, I'm so glad you're feeling better." "Please, call me Daniel," the CEO said, gesturing for her to sit in the chair opposite his monumental desk. "And I can't thank you enough for what you did for my mother." The doctor said she had a minor bout of heat exhaustion. "Your quick action and compassion made all the difference." Eleanor nodded, her eyes twinkling. "I told Daniel all about you, Lucy. How you were the only one who stopped. How kind you were. You didn't just see a problem, you saw a person." Daniel leaned forward, his elbows on the desk, his expression turning serious but not unkind. "Lucy, what do you think are the core values of this company?" It was a question straight out of a corporate training video, but the context made it feel profoundly different. Lucy's mind raced. She thought of Brenda, of the relentless focus on metrics over people. "Well," she began, choosing her words carefully, "the official values are integrity, innovation, and excellence." "And what does integrity mean to you?" he pressed, his gaze intent. Lucy took a breath. The fear was starting to melt away, replaced by a surge of conviction. "To me, sir, integrity isn't just about following rules or being honest in reports. It's about doing the right thing, even when it's inconvenient. It's about how you treat people when you think no one of consequence is watching. It's the foundation everything else is built on. Without it, innovation is just cleverness, and excellence is just a facade." Daniel Blackwood didn't speak for a moment. He just looked at her, and Lucy felt he was seeing her, truly seeing her for the first time. "My mother comes to have coffee with me every few weeks," he said finally. "She's been doing it for years. And for years, she's been my, let's call it an informal consultant on company culture. She sits in the lobby for a few minutes, she watches people come and go. She's told me that the character of the people in this building has been declining, that everyone is in a hurry, heads down, treating each other as obstacles." He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at his domain. "The day she fainted was a test, Lucy. One I didn't authorize, but one she insisted on. A test of basic human decency. Dozens of Apex Global employees walked past the CEO's mother. Dozens. And only one, a junior associate from the marketing department, stopped to help. He turned back to her. His decision made. That kind of character, that intrinsic understanding of integrity, is the kind of leadership we desperately need. It's rarer than any MBA or any genius-level marketing idea. Lucy's heart was pounding again, but this time with a wild, disbelieving hope. The head of our corporate social responsibility division is retiring next month, Daniel said. It's a role that oversees our charitable foundation, our ethical supply chain initiatives, our community outreach. It requires someone who doesn't just talk about values, but lives them. I'm offering you the position, Lucy, effective immediately, with the title of vice president, and the compensation to match. Lucy was sure she had misheard. Vice president. It was a jump of 4 pay grades. It was impossible. Eleanor smiled. A knowing, proud smile. You earned it, dear. Not by helping me, but by being you. Tears welled in Lucy's eyes. This wasn't just a promotion. It was a validation of her entire worldview. Compassion hadn't been a liability. It had been the key. Walking out of Daniel Blackwood's office 20 minutes later, Lucy felt like she was floating. The plush carpet, the silent hallway, the serene assistant. It all felt different now. She wasn't an intruder. She was a part of this world. She clutched the folder Daniel had given her, containing the formal offer letter and a summary of the CSR division scope. The title Vice President seemed to glow through the paper. She needed a moment to process. She ducked into a pristine, empty conference room on the 50th floor, her hands trembling as she pulled out her phone to call her mom. Before she could dial, the door opened. It was Brenda. Her supervisor's face was a complex map of confusion, suspicion, and a dawning, horrified realization. She had likely been lurking, waiting to see the fired employee emerge in tears. "Lucy, what are you still doing up here?" "What did he say?" Brenda's voice was sharp, demanding. Lucy took a deep breath, the last vestiges of her fear evaporating under Brenda's gaze. She straightened her shoulders, a new confidence settling into her bones. "Mr. Blackwood had some very positive feedback, actually," Lucy said, her voice calm. Brenda's eyes narrowed. "Positive feedback? About what? Your tardiness report?" "No," Lucy said, a small smile playing on her lips. "About my handling of the situation with his mother." The color drained from Brenda's face so completely, she looked like a ghost. His mother?" "Yes. The woman you said wasn't in my job description to help." Lucy held up the folder. "It turns out, compassion is a key part of the job description for Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility. My new role. I'll be transitioning out of your department effective immediately." Brenda was speechless. Her mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. The foundation of her cutthroat worldview had just been detonated. The junior associate she'd chastised was now several levels her senior. "Now, if you'll excuse me," Lucy said, her tone polite but firm, a tone she'd use with any other colleague. "I have a lot to prepare for." She walked past a stunned Brenda and back to the elevator. The descent to her old floor felt like traveling between dimensions. When the doors opened, a few people glanced her way. The news, it seemed, traveled faster than the elevator. Mark, her cubicle neighbor, was staring at her, his eyes wide. "Dude, the rumor mill is going insane. They're saying you're the new CSR VP? Is that true?" Before Lucy could answer, a company-wide email alert chimed on every computer in the office. It was from Daniel Blackwood. The subject line: Leadership Announcement. New Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility. Lucy watched as her colleagues opened the email. She saw their eyes scan the text, their expressions shifting from curiosity to disbelief. She saw Brenda emerge from the stairwell, her face still pale, and slink into her office without looking at anyone. The email was gracious. It spoke of Lucy's exceptional character, her embodiment of company values, and her proven commitment to community. It mentioned her, quote, quick thinking and compassion in a recent incident that had demonstrated the leadership we strive for at Apex Global. It was official. The girl who had stopped to help was now a vice president. The following Monday, Lucy walked into her new office. It was on the 48th floor, just 2 below Daniel Blackwood's. It wasn't as vast as his, but it had its own stunning city view, a sitting area, and walls of empty bookshelves waiting for her to fill them. A brass nameplate on the door read, Lucy Chen, Vice President, Corporate Social Responsibility. It was surreal. Her personal belongings, her photo of her family, her lucky succulent, looked small and out of place on the large polished desk. Her first meeting was with her new team. They were a group of about 15 people, all of whom had been her superiors just days before. They filed into her conference room, their body language a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and cautious respect. Lucy felt a fresh wave of nerves. She was 26 years old. What did she know about leading a division? But as she looked at their faces, she remembered Daniel's words. That kind of character is the kind of leadership we desperately need. She stood at the head of the table. Good morning, everyone. I know my appointment was unexpected. I don't have a decade of experience in corporate strategy. What I have is a deep belief that a company's strength isn't just in its bottom line, but in its soul. I stopped to help a stranger because it was the right thing to do. I want this division to be the part of Apex Global that always, unfailingly, does the right thing. She laid out her vision, a review of all their charitable partners to ensure maximum impact, a push for greater transparency in their supply chain, and a new, employee-driven volunteer program. I need your expertise to make this happen, she said, her voice gaining strength. I'm not here to tell you how to do your jobs. I'm here to give our work a clearer purpose, and to fight for the resources you need. The skepticism in the room began to thaw. A senior manager named David, who had been with the company for 20 years, slowly nodded. It's refreshing, he said. It's refreshing, he said. We've been told for years to do more with less. It's nice to have a leader who talks about why we do it. The meeting ended with a new, energized sense of direction. Lucy walked back to her office, her heart swelling. She could do this. She wasn't just a figurehead, she was a leader. Later that afternoon, as she was unpacking a box, there was a soft knock on her open door. It was Sarah, a woman from her old marketing team. She looked nervous. Hi, Lucy. Vice President Chen. Lucy is fine, Sarah. What's up? Sarah took a tentative step inside. I wanted to say congratulations. And thank you. Thank you. For what? For proving that being a good person matters, Sarah said, her voice earnest. So many of us saw that woman. We felt bad, but we were scared of being late, of what Brenda would say. You did what we all should have done. You showed us that our character counts. It gives the rest of us hope. Her words struck a deep chord in Lucy. Her promotion wasn't just about her. It was a message to the entire company, a recalibration of values. After Sarah left, Lucy looked out her new window. The city sprawled beneath her, full of millions of people, each with their own struggles. She hadn't just gotten a new title and a corner office. She had been given a platform, a responsibility to make kindness part of the corporate curriculum. And she was ready. Lucy's first month as VP was a whirlwind of budget meetings, strategy sessions, and getting to know the intricate workings of her division. The learning curve was steep, but her team, once won over by her genuine passion, was fiercely supportive. David, the senior manager, became her most trusted advisor, guiding her through the corporate politics she had never been exposed to before. She decided her first major initiative wouldn't be a flashy, PR-driven campaign, but something foundational. She called it the Ethical Footprint Audit. It was a comprehensive, deep-dive review of every single supplier and factory in Apex Global's supply chain. It was expensive, time-consuming, and notoriously difficult, as it often uncovered uncomfortable truths that cost money to fix. Previous VPs had shied away from it. When she presented the proposal to Daniel Blackwood and the board, she faced pushback. The shareholders won't like the hit to the quarterly earnings, one board member argued. Lucy was prepared. She stood before them, not as the junior associate from marketing, but as the VP of CSR. With all due respect, she said, her voice clear, the long-term hit to our reputation and brand loyalty will be far greater if we don't. Consumers today, especially the younger generations we need to attract, care about this. They want to buy from companies with a conscience. This audit isn't an expense. It's an investment in our future. It's integrity in action. Daniel watched her, a quiet pride in his expression. He had taken a chance on her, and she was proving his instinct right. He gave the initiative his full backing. The audit began. It was grueling work. Late one evening, Lucy was in her office, surrounded by reports, when she heard a familiar voice. Burning the midnight oil, I see. She looked up. Eleanor Blackwood was standing in her doorway, holding 2 cups of takeout coffee. Eleanor, what are you doing here? I was having dinner with Daniel, and thought I'd bring you some fuel, she said, placing a cup on Lucy's desk. She looked around the office, at the organized chaos of a leader at work. I knew it. I knew you were the right one. I have a lot to prove, Lucy admitted, taking a grateful sip of coffee. You already have, Eleanor said gently. To the people who matter. You're changing the water in this place, drop by drop. Don't ever underestimate the power of that. Her visit was a timely boost. A week later, the first results from the audit came in. They uncovered a factory in their supply chain that was using questionable labor practices. It was a difficult, costly problem to solve, requiring them to find a new partner and potentially delay a product launch. Lucy didn't hesitate. She authorized the change, and she and her team worked tirelessly to manage the fallout and communicate their commitment to ethical practices transparently. To everyone's surprise, the press coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Apex Global puts ethics over profit, read one headline. Their stock price, after a brief dip, actually rose. The public response was filled with praise. Lucy's inconvenient integrity had, once again, proven to be the company's greatest asset. 6 months later, the culture at Apex Global had begun a subtle but profound shift. The ethical footprint was now a core part of the company's brand identity. The employee volunteer program Lucy had launched was oversubscribed, with teens spending afternoons at local food banks and schools. People in the elevator talked about their volunteer projects, not just their sales numbers. Lucy was no longer seen as the lucky girl who helped the CEO's mom. She was respected as a sharp, principled, and effective leader who had delivered tangible results. She had earned her place. One day, she was walking through the main lobby, the same lobby where she had first seen Eleanor. She noticed a young intern, looking lost and overwhelmed, drop a heavy stack of files. Papers scattered everywhere. People stepped around the mess, just as they had months before. But this time, something different happened. A senior manager from the finance department, a man Lucy knew was notoriously impatient, stopped. He knelt down and started helping the intern gather the papers. "It's okay, kid," Lucy heard him say. "Happens to the best of us." It was a small moment, insignificant in the grand scheme of the company's multi-billion-dollar operations. But to Lucy it was everything. It was proof that the value of compassion, once planted, could grow. She continued to her lunch meeting with Daniel Blackwood. As they sat down, he smiled at her. "The board is thrilled with the CSR division's performance, Lucy. You've exceeded every expectation." "Thank you, Daniel. It's been a team effort. It started with one person making one choice," he said, his gaze knowing. "You proved that the most valuable currency in business isn't just intelligence or ambition. It's humanity." Lucy looked out the restaurant window, down at the busy street where her life had changed. She hadn't just gotten a promotion that day. She helped Eleanor. She had started a chain reaction. She had shown an entire corporation that a single act of kindness isn't a diversion from the path to success. Sometimes, it is the path, and the doors it opens are ones that effort alone can never unlock.